For many years, people in our position have been persecuted. We've been targeted, we've been harassed, we've been betrayed by friends and associates, and we always had our back against the wall. And for a lot of us, we've never been truly happy, but we have been truly sad and depressed. And don't think that you're weak, because you survive things that most people would never survive. You survive things that would break most people. A lot of us have. We've been through the trauma, the drama, the isolation, the desolation. We've been through it all. We know how it feels like to be betrayed. We know how it feels like to have people talk about us, especially in the family, where everybody thinks you're the loser because you're the person that stays in the room all day and you don't want to be bothered. And they keep talking about you because you don't have a job. So, they, kind of harass you or whatever and always ask you about that. But you have so much anxiety because the years of being rejected and dejected by this society kind of just made you want to just, turn off from society. You become a hermit, right? Because you don't want to feel those same emotions again. But it hardened a lot of us, but also it kind of destroyed or distorted us as well, because a lot of us were not going to ever truly be healed and truly be fixed. And that's just the honest truth, because we've been through things that it broke something inside of us. Like, we're still standing, we're still remaining, we're still in the game, ready to play, but something inside us has changed forever. That innocence is lost. That ember is gone. Now it's replaced by cold reality. And certain events that we've been through in life, it sticks with you forever. A lot of us still remember, the bad things that happened to us in high school, middle school, elementary, kindergarten. Like, that stuff sticks with you. Like, I remember teachers picking on me from in very, very early age, and I wasn't a bad student. Like, I remember seeing students that were clearly talking in class, and I'm sitting there quiet, not saying a word, my head down, right? And the teacher would kick me out. And then it got to a point where even this one person defended me. A couple of people defended me and said, hey, he wasn't even talking. I was the one talking. Like, they admitted to it. And the teacher still kicked me out and kept them in. So from an early age, I was taught that this world is unfair. And as you grow into an adult, you start to see it more clear. Certain people get better, jobs. They're just like they get it with ease almost, because of nepotism and who they know. And certain people, based on their genetics and based how they look like, they're able to accelerate in life a lot faster and a lot quicker than people that don't look a certain way, right? It's like the society is a very visual society. This is why advertisements are flashy. They're in your face. They're, trying to capture your attention, because people are visual creatures. Because humans pick up on social cues based on, visual indicators, so that goes a long way. Remember, at the end of the day, we're flesh, blood, and bone. We're spirits. We're eternal spirits trapped in flesh, blood, and bone. So the prioritization for the ignorant masses is going to be vanity. The people are going to value things that doesn't really matter. Like, of course, somebody's looks, like everybody wants to find a partner or a mate that looks decent, that they're attracted to, because attraction connects, right? But also there's a deeper hidden layer. There's multiple layers. You got to understand if this person even thinks like you, if this person has the same perspective on life about you, because that's very important as well, to be fine-tuned with your partner, But that's what we're missing, people like us in this position, a soulmate, a girl that can just hold us down, right? Because it get very difficult some days, man. Like, the pain of not having a girl and never really having that true love, never going on a date, never being on a date. That destroys your confidence. Then the age pill comes into reality and realization, where it's like, man, even if you did hit the lottery tomorrow, you're still kind of old, and it's like, damn, every interaction is going to be a transaction, because people, they're not going to, like, a beautiful young girl who's like 23, she's not going to generally be attracted to a guy that's, in his late 30s or, mid 40s or mid 50s. The only way she's going to be genuinely attracted is like, if he has any wealth, any money, because most people, once they get older, they start to visually deteriorate because that's just the natural way of things, right? That this evil Yaldabaoth made in this hell realm is that the most beauty, like the most beautiful beings, like some people are privileged to look good. Gradually, as they age, it kind of fades away. And then eventually the body succumbs to this existence and it just turns to, wormwood, and then it's just the bones there. And then the bones eventually, if they're under the right conditions, they may remain. If they're not, they just disappear forever, like the person never exists. It's weird, man, how this world is, man. How it's so hard to do right in this world. And what I mean by that is it's so hard to try to build something, like say a business for yourself that can take you out of poverty. It's so hard to build that up. It'll take years to build that up. But let's say you hire somebody and that person says something on social media and they get quote unquote canceled or whatever. Then when they get canceled, it reflects your business now. Then like you're being forced to fire that person or whatever, or not. People want to boycott your business. It can, it's a crazy world out there now. Like social media has changed the landscape, and it just made it difficult in every aspect in life because it's like there's so much saturation going on. But I believe the human spirit is for creation and innovation. So I think everybody should have some type of, social media, because it's like, what if one day you pass away and there's no records of you ever existing? In a macabre way, it's like, this is what keeps me making these videos in a way as well. It's like one day my body is eventually going to give out, because that's nature. That's what Yaldabaoth put upon this world as a punishment to the divine spark, right? So we're going to have to, give up the ghost one day and pass away. And to me, these videos and like any social media, my music, whatever, it's going to be all that remains of me one day. That's going to be the only way people will hear my voice, see my face, and acknowledge that I was even in existence. Because 500 years from now, the world's going to be unimaginable. Can you imagine the world 500 years from now? Imagine the world 2,000, 3,000 years from now. That's like imagining people from, the days of Achilles, the days of Alexander the Great, the days of Julius Caesar. Imagine those people getting transported to today. It'll be like magic, They'll be like, what the heck? You guys have robots? You have, what the heck is that? That's a cruise ship? Wow, what's that? That's a spaceship? Wow, that's a airplane? They'll be amazed. So imagine what the future is going to look like 3,000 years from now. But you can bet this, the same entities are going to be loosing us. And look, I was thinking about something too. I have a little theory where, what if everybody that's alive right now were alive thousands of years ago as well? What if you existed in another timeline, like you had multiple lives? So let's say in the days of Alexander the Great, you know what I mean? You was like a foot soldier for him, or you was like some carpenter in Persia, or you was something around, and those, like, you existed like how you exist now. You passed away in that timeline, and then you got reborn by you got caught by the Archons. They soul trapped you, they loosed you, they mind wiped you, they did the life review, and then they threw you back into another human body. And what if all of us existing right now? What if we all existed before? What if we were those people back in the days we see in those pictures that we call our ancestors? What if we were those people and we just got reincarnated again? And we're those exact same people that the demiurge keeps loosing our souls over and over again. But we're those people that, like, we always been around since the days of, the ancient times, And what if we're the exact same souls being tortured for thousands of years, but we don't remember? That's why we get mind wiped. And that's why in this time and age, we think that this is the only life we really had. Like, after this, there's not going to be another. But what if there are? What if we had thousands of lives over thousands of years? And this is like our 10,000th life or whatever, something like that, right? And we just don't have the memory of it because we get mind wiped every time we pass away. What if that's the case? It's just interesting to think about, right? That's what I was thinking about the other day, That'd be interesting. That's why some people have, what's called an old soul. Like some people, like they'll be young, like sometimes it happens to kids, teenagers, young adults. They'll be young, but they have an old soul. They have an old school maturity about them. And some people have naturally gifted gifts, like they can play the piano well, like they're savants. They can like build little robots. They can do like things that are just supernatural well. Like a lot, like some people have that at a young age, like when they're children. What if that's something that carried over from a previous life, something that the demiurge couldn't totally erase, right? So that's just food for thought. It's it's just such a cruel world made by the demiurge, because I remember the other day, going into the grocery store or whatever, right? And I remember one of the workers there was like an old lady. Like she had to be around like no like she had to be around like 75 years old. Like no lie, man, like for real. And I'm just looking like this is an old lady, and then she had like a cane or whatever and she was trying to walk. And it's just like no way it's like do these companies have no shame? Do these companies have no shame? Like you should have her sitting down somewhere, like being a greeter or being something like that. But I guess the greeter, I guess they actually need people to walk around the store and do. But they should have the younger people just do that, and then have the older people like that, have an easier time. It sucks because a lot of us, if we don't hit the lottery, if we don't become multimillionaires, if we don't become successful, a lot of us are going to be very old working at these low labor jobs just to survive, just to eat. Like we're not going to have retirement. Like we're not going to have a pension, right? It's a brutal reality. It's a scary reality. It's frightening. And when I seen this lady, I can look and tell that she did not want to be there. You can she had that look on her face like a soldier does from battle. It's just pure trauma. Because you never expect at that age that you will be in a very bad position. So that means your entire life you never escape poverty. And for a lot of us, that's going to be our story. If we don't have a talent, if we don't have any type of, any type of way to really make it and make a lot of money and do it, over some years, and have a good business plan and a good business goal, then a lot of us are going to be stuck in this situation where we're constantly in a situation where money, it's just like we just don't have enough money. We just don't have enough money. We don't have enough time. We don't have enough love. We don't have enough support. Like we always lack something. We don't have enough of something. And that's what makes this world cruel and brutal. It's just, it's very difficult, man. Especially when you develop mental health issues because of the events that you've been through in life. Because a lot of these events, they will follow you. That time that girl looked at you and laughed at you in class. That time that girl talked about your shoes. That time you tried to go up to that girl and give her flowers and all her friends laughed at you. And then she pretty much threw the flowers in your face. Yes, girls can be that mean. Yes. If you're a guy that's unattractive, you already understand this. Like I'm preaching to the choir. You guys know this, right? We know the ugly sides of when people don't like us. You have that family member that in public, they act like they're normal. They try to be cool. They try to be likable. But behind closed doors, they try to torment you and be a little tyrant over you and try to dictate your moves, right? Like people are like that. A lot of people are kind of two-faced, right? And it's why a lot of us in this situation, we act a certain way because there's certain events that went on in our life that made us not want to be around people. So we kind of just isolated ourselves because being around people taught us that when you're around people, you want to be around problems. And when you're around problems, there's going to be drama. And when there's drama, there's emotional trauma. And that emotional trauma causes scars in your soul. And those scars in your soul takes years to heal. Some of them never heal, right? Depending on the severity of the situation. Some of the scars in your soul never heal, man. There's wounds in our soul. We suffer deeply. We suffer greatly in this position. And a lot of us are talented. I've met a lot of talented people, that sent me, their drawings, their music, their beats, their their artwork and stuff. And I'm looking at this person like, wow, like you can actually, like, no lie, you can turn this into a business. Like, this is really good. But they say they're trapped by going to the 9 to 5, and they have other life obligations and priorities and responsibilities, so they can't devote their full time to what they really want to do. And I think that's just so atrocious. It's really despicable that we can't do what we really love in life, that we can't really do, have that dream job, right? It's crazy. It's really crazy because some of us, what if we want to be astronauts, but we don't want to go through NASA? There's like no other way. What if we want to just get together, build our own spaceships, and have our own preliminary testings and parameters set in place, and we build a ship and we try to fly out to space? They'll probably try to take it down, with military force as soon as we fly past a certain point. Right? And then what if we go to space and then let's say we can go to the moon or activate a hyperdrive and go to like a different planet or go to another galaxy? Let's say we built that from people in the backyard somehow. They would hunt us down. They would try to go to different planets, galaxies, universes, realities, and try to find us and pull us back so we can be under their control. That's how the system is. The system always wants you under its control, right? And it's just, that's what makes people want to be free. That's what makes people want to leave their 9 to 5. And that's what makes people want to stay inside. Because even though you're a NEET, sometimes when you're watching your anime, playing your video games, and, having your little Mary Jane to the brain and your favorite foods and little snacks, to cope, sometimes that's like the most freest you'll ever be. That's the most alive you'll feel, as sad as that sounds. Because a lot of us, due to how we look like and due to our look parameters, we're not chosen by this world. We're not chosen by females. We're not chosen to be the successful guys that get everything they want. They have a good life. They don't have to deal with, emotional thoughts inside of their mind that wants to commit Japanese honorable neutralization. But a lot of us know how that feels like, to have those thoughts, to have those plots, and to have those situations play out in our mind, because we've really been through things. Like a lot of us, we've been through things that a normal person wouldn't even believe if you told them. they'll think you're making it up, because they're like, no one, how are you still standing? Because we have to be strong. We have to be strong because that's all we're forced to be, and plus, like, there's no one to cry on. There's no shoulder to cry on. There's nobody to retreat to. You're by yourself. There's nobody really to come back to. Like, when you're in this position, you're by yourself. And plus, people showed you, due to the events of the past, about how they really don't mess with you, and when you're a guy in this position, when you're a lonely guy, people have it out for you. Everywhere you go, you're exposed to the negative sides of people. You're exposed to the negative sides of humanity, which is pure insanity. And all the calamities that you face, it adds on to the pressure. It adds on to the stress. It adds on to depression. And the new generation, Generation Z, and the millennials, the millennials too. Yeah, because I think I'm born in '91, so yeah, I'll probably be considered a millennial, right? Yeah. So I'm struggling. And I'm struggling with the youngsters, but, I don't even look my age, which is funny, so I relate to the people that are in their 20s, like I relate to the young and the youth, because I'm going through the exact same thing they're going through. And I think all of us, the younger generation and the older generations, we have to come up with a business plan. We have to start focusing on being entrepreneurs, because these companies are going to fire people. I just heard it, was it Google or some big company just fired over 1,000 workers. I think it was what's his name? The owner of Facebook, or the one who created Mark Zuckerberg. I think it was Mark Zuckerberg, one of his companies, Metaverse or whatever, something like that. I think he pretty much told the people that they can work from home that day, and then fired them. It was like something like that. It was like thousands of people, which is brutal. Everybody know Mark Zuckerberg. It looks like he's from the reptilian bloodline. So that's like an evil thing to do. That's like an archonic thing to do. So it's like these companies, like even having a 9 to 5, it doesn't secure your future, because you could be working at a shoe store, at the grocery store, at a bowling alley. You could be working at Knott's Berry Farm in California. You could be working at Six Flags. You're working at Disneyland, whatever. You're working at a restaurant, working at different places, and one day that can be replaced by a robot. I already see stuff on YouTube where you have these robots delivering people's food from like air. They have these drones that fly in certain areas and they can deliver your pizza, deliver your food, deliver soda, and then they have these little robots that like look like little mini tanks, and they'll like for certain restaurants will have them deliver it to your door like this little robot, like, and it knows how to drive around. It's crazy. That would be considered magic back in the days of King Henry VIII, in the days of the Tudors. That would be like the days of ancient England or medieval England. They'll call that sorcery because that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. An artificially created soul, like a golem, being forced inside of using codes and mathematics and electricity, and it's making its own thoughts and patterns and ways. Of course, it's being controlled by humans, some of them, but you know what I mean, right? Like as the future gets older, it's going to get colder, and it's only and like the wickedness is going to get bolder. So you're going to start having these robots and all this coming, taking everybody's jobs, making life even more difficult. There's a movie about that, right? There's a movie called Elysium. I think it's called Elysium, where the elites live in like some Mass Effect citadel with all the amenities and securities and luxuries, and everybody else is living on Earth poor, struggling, and the robots are taking the jobs. The robots are the police force. Like they're showing you in the movies what the future is going to be like. A lot of us probably not going to be here, but we may be loosed and reincarnated back in here in a different body, in a different timeline, in a different skin color configuration, and we're not going to even know that we existed in this timeline because our minds are going to be wiped by the demiurge and the archons. But that future is going to be brutal, and a lot of us are going to be thinking that what we're thinking now, this is the only life I got, but we're not going to remember, it's just going to be crazy. It's either that, or when we pass away, we're going into an infernal hell prison, And I bet most of us are probably going to go because the God of this world is a wicked, cruel, evil being. Simple as that. No loving God will create a hell in the first place. Only a wicked, sadistic, vicious God would name himself jealousy and that I am. Point blank, period. There's no loving being that would create a realm like this where people like us suffer. A lot of us deserve to have wins. A lot of us deserve to have things in life that we want. We deserve to have a cute girlfriend in our life. We deserve to have a girl where she, after we hit it from the back and make that nanny smack, she lays in our lap and, or we lay in her lap and go to sleep or play video. Imagine sitting back, laying in your girl's lap, just talking to her, sitting back playing some, I can't say Call of Duty because Call of Duty sucks now. You know what I mean? It's like every game's an MLG battle fest, a sweat fest. Same with Fortnite, right? But you sit back and you play one of your favorite old school games. Like one of my favorite games of all time is Medal of Honor Frontline. All the older Medal of Honor series, which in fact were the original Call of Duties, because the same developers that developed Medal of Honor series, the old ones back on the days, a lot of them developed Call of Duty. And you're sitting back playing your favorite video game, laying in your girl's lap and just talking, and she's like rubbing, massaging your head, just like little moments like that, little moments of intimacy where she's sitting on your lap and you guys on the computer together looking at different houses you want to get, like stuff like that. Those little emotional moments. You're walking at the park at night, walking the dog, holding hands, you go get a cinnamon bun, you guys spontaneously go and get lunch somewhere, or dinner somewhere, for takeout, and walk the dogs back home or whatever. It's just, those are the moments that a lot of us will never have because of our horrible life experiences we've been through. We've been robbed of joy. We've been robbed of life. We've been robbed for an opportunity and a chance to really enhance our living conditions. The world doesn't offer what we desire. So how is that fair? We want to be successful. We want to be rich. We want to be in a position of power, wealth, and influence. Every man wants to have some money and some stability. You may not have millions of dollars, but you want some stability where you can have peace, where you don't have, you want to have FU money, right? You want to have money that you can just tell your boss whenever your boss is on your ass about something. You just want to just stick the middle finger at them and be able to leave and live your life, travel to France, get those expensive suits, get those expensive, shoes, get the, whatever that your heart desires. Yes, it's materialistic things, but let's be real. Materialistic things is all we know while we're in the flesh. Materialistic things was what makes a lot of people happy. That's why they sell, because a lot of us feel empty inside. A lot of us, we don't really feel alive. So we have to buy things to to try to make us to cover up the emotional wounds and scars, and it never works. It never works, man. Right? Because you need a spiritual healing and cleansing. But I will say, if you had millions of dollars, it can definitely heal. It depends. It can definitely heal a lot, but it may not heal it fully, because even if you had $1 million, you still remember how girls treated you when you were broke. So that's going to stick with you forever. But you're going to be a lot more happier when you have adult activities take place on a private yacht, somewhere, deep in the Mediterranean or somewhere, and having adventures. And like, it sucks that a lot of us will never live that life, man. It's like, damn. Like, we will never, ever be rich. Like, never. Like, I will never be a millionaire, really? Like, I will never know the feeling of being famous, being in a Rolls Royce, having beautiful women, having anything I want at any time, not having to worry about money. Like, that's like the biggest stress, is worrying about money. Imagine never worrying about money. Imagine never worrying about running out of anything. Imagine being able to have anything you want. Imagine being able to buy any car, to buy any house. You can buy your peace, you can buy your tranquility, you can buy your happiness. But what sucks is, in the end, when it's time for you to go, you can't buy another second of life. And that's what's crazy. Because this world is like that. That's how you know this is a soul trap. That's how you know this world is just for naught. Because you spend your existence chasing money, and then in the very end, money can't save you. So what was the point in chasing money in the beginning if it doesn't give you eternal life, right? And why would a God try to hide eternal life? Like, why would a God make a world where we can go our entire lives focusing on money and not focusing on spiritual truths and advancements? Obviously, this God is not the real God. Obviously, this is the demiurge who wants to distract the divine sparks and trap us in systems of oppression and suppression, and systems that are designed to break our souls. That's why that 9 to 5 exists. The 9 to 5 takes up how much of your life? You go to it every single day, and it's never enough pay. They never give you enough money where you can quit the job. They barely give you enough money to say, hell, you can't even save on your paycheck. So as soon as you get your paycheck, you already broke before you even spent it, because you got all the bills to pay. Sometimes some bills come out automatically and you'll be broke before you even know it. You just got paid yesterday and you broke today, and then you have no savings. And then that's a repeatable cycle that goes on. So you're gonna have to create some type of business to get out that cycle, but it's hard, it's difficult, and then you got to deal with you got to deal with the damn demiurge and his dang, traps and his plots and his twisted mind and the things he's gonna throw at you just so he can loose you. This is a hell realm. This is how you know this is a hell realm. It's not designed for our spiritual advancement. It's designed to break us, man. Look around, just look at your life right now. I guarantee you can name 3 problems, hell, more than that, but you can name at least 3 problems in your life right now that was totally out of your control. People want to say, oh, it's your fault that this, that, and this happened. How do you not know there's entities in another dimension that made that happen because they're trying to loose me and take my negative energetic manifestational frequency? You're just judging on what you think you see, but you're ignorant as well, right? And how do you not know that there's things plotting on a person? Because a person contains a special divinity and a special light. Just look at the events in your life, man, and you'll see how your life played out up to this point. And you can name probably 10 different events that went on that totally destroyed you, that totally broke your mind, that totally took away your confidence, that totally made you just feel worthless and without a purpose. And that's horrible. No one should ever feel that way. We deserve love. We deserve tranquility. We deserve peace. We deserve to have We deserve to have a girlfriend with a big arse, and we deserve to have the things we want. If you want a monster truck, why not? If you want a boat, why not? If you want a mansion, why not? Why not? Why not? We're supposed to be humans, right? The quote unquote, the most intelligent, beings on this world, right? But we can't figure out how to end poverty. We can't figure out how to stop, greedy politicians taking all the money and wealth and leaving the poor, homeless. We don't know how to stop that, but we know how to make nuclear missiles. You have the mental capacity to fashion nuclear armaments, nuclear facilities, secret underground bases, and sensitive installations. you can fund that, you can create that, implement and integrate that into your systems and augmentations, but you can't help the poor. You can't, it's not that you can't help, you don't want to help the poor. And that's the world we live in, where there's an abundance, actually. There's actually an abundance of wealth, because look at all the grocery stores, they're always packed, right, with food. You rarely run into a situation where you go to the grocery store and all the food is gone, except, back in the days when they had, that situation that went on that everybody knows about, right? And now they're trying to have a rehash of that situation now. And it's like, now some people are a lot more wiser, and they kind of tilt their hat to the game now. And they're like, I see the play there. I see what's at odds here. Now I won't fall back into the spider's web, and get bitten by venom. Nope. Nope. You won't sicken me with your poison. No. I shall learn truth, wisdom, and knowledge, and stay away from anything that's trying to be deceptive, anything that doesn't come up to me face to face, eye to eye, and actually talk to me. Anything that's wicked and evil, you got to stay away from, simply because it's wicked and evil, right? But a lot of us in this situation, we can't really escape our situation easily. Like, a lot of us literally need somebody to just, or like do a magic trick, or somebody to just literally hand us, like $5 million, $10 million, like just give us two duffel bags with $1 million each, and filled in it. Like, have you guys ever seen those videos where Floyd Mayweather like shows $1 million in cash? When I see those videos, I wish I could just teleport through the video and snatch that $1 million and teleport back, because imagine seeing $1 million in cash. Like, how, that's so amazing. $1 million. And when you see it, it's like, is that even real money? Like, it's no, like, how do you have $1 million in cash? That's ridiculous. Imagine that, man. Like, I wish $1 million in cash would just teleport in front of my face. You know what I mean? I'd be so happy. You know what I mean? Jesus, I'll be happy. Like, just imagining having money, imagining having the freedom to do what you want. Imagine it. It just sucks because there's people that live in it. There's people like our dreams. There's people that are already living our dreams right now. There's people right now that that do YouTube full time, that do music full time, that does, acting full time. They have these full time cool jobs. And they get paid all this money. Meanwhile, we have to suffer at these low wage, jobs, or these low wage paying things where we get paid pennies on the dollar, and our souls are broken and defeated. And it's hard when you have a depleted and defeated soul that's kind of retreated from this existence, and you're try to build something, because you need confidence to try to build a business too. If you don't believe in yourself at all, then even building a business is going to seem impossible, like an impossible obstacle. And it probably is, because you're going to have to face the demiurge, who's going to be throwing all type of bad things your way. So we got to stay strong, guys, because we truly, truly live in an evil, sadistic, wicked, twisted hell realm. It's brutal. Absolutely brutal.